Move on to Superintendent Spotlight.
All right, President Montemayor and board members, at this time, I'd like to ask Cecilia Jones to come to the podium for another introduction. I think, Deidre, we'll have you come up there with her. Oh, and Kathy, I didn't see you, Kathy. We have our Education Foundation here tonight, but I did want to let Cecilia introduce these wonderful ladies, and then we'll turn the mic over to Ms. Capps to introduce our foundation members here.
It is my pleasure to introduce our team of Education Foundation board members. Deidre Miller is our administrative assistant for the foundation and does an amazing job. I think what's interesting, and maybe Kathy will touch on this, but with COVID, the Education Foundation and their gala had to be canceled, and so they weren't sure how they were going to fund the Innovative Teacher Grant. But luckily, they were able to make it happen. And so without the support of CoServe and some monies that they had, we wouldn't be standing here and me introducing them and presenting the check to the Board of Trustees. So with that said, I'll invite Kathy to the mic, and she's the president of the foundation, to talk more about what they're doing here tonight.
Thank you. I apologize for my attire. When you have a 10-and-a-half-week-old puppy, you forget everything. I don't know what I was thinking. They were cute. He was cute. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much from the trustees, Little On Board trustees, as well as Mr. Gallagher and Cecilia and your team here and all the principals. You guys have made it so easy for us as well, the partnership that you've given and allowing us to have a safe and successful year for LEISD during the pandemic. We've also are grateful for the ability to award the grants in today's economic climate. And we're grateful for the financial support we've received from, like Cecilia said, CoServe. They've been very gracious and consistent. And we also have had 67 grant applications, which was amazing. Every year it gets more and more, and we're so glad that we see those applications coming in. And with that, we were able to, bless you, we were able to award 25 grants totaling $24,064.17, and hope to continue to do more. And we will have more events. We don't really want to announce that wonderful event we're going to have yet. We want to have opportunities to give to those who are already sponsors from our last year's gala, and we will surely announce that soon. So with that being said, I'd love us to present this check, and I would love for the rest of our board that showed up tonight to come up here as well, if that's okay.
Yes.
Ladies.
And Kathy, do you want to introduce the board members that are here?
Yes. All right, we have, and I would like for them to introduce herself, if that's okay.
Perfect.
No? Sandy? All right, Sandy, a tutor doctor. We have Lindsay, who's a real amazing realtor in Little Elm. And then Sarah. We got all these S's up here. Sarah is one of our interns, and she's done an amazing job as well. And as you know, Deidre, she's the best. We wouldn't be here without her. So, all right.
So we do have a really big check because we want to make sure everybody knows about it.
Y'all got it?
Awesome.
David?
Is there a way we could do a picture with all the board? I don't know if you can do that.
Are we allowed?
We can do it.
Yeah.
That's the attitude.
Dan, you might want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say something to it. I want to truly, truly thank you guys for what you do. When I first got on the board, one of the things that was missing was this. We didn't have a foundation that was helping out the teachers and the kids. And as a first board member at the time, I came in, and it was an important thing for me to make sure that we had a foundation. And to see it now, from that time to see where it is now, it is really heartfelt. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done from that time to where we are now. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Where do you want to be?
We
can go up front there, but.
Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
What's it, right?
Shorty's in the front.
There's a hole right here.
I'll put mine on.
They let you to carry the bag? Don't run off with it.
Shorty's in the front.
Okay. All right, y'all sit back
Yeah, I think I'm stepping back here.
Yeah.
All right, to the side, come on in. There we go, we're making it work. And everybody say cheese. Okay, got it.
All right.
Thank
You'll have to charge it and then I'll go back.
And I want to echo what Mr. English said. I really, really want to say a huge thank you to all of the Education Foundation board members. I know several couldn't be here tonight, but what a great group. You know, we meet once a month to talk about what we can do to really better opportunities for our teachers, increase those opportunities, and ultimately to benefit our kids. So great organization. Y'all do an amazing job, and the foundation just gets stronger and stronger every year because of y'all's leadership. So thank y'all so much for what you do for the district and for teachers and our kids. All right. With that, I actually have asked Mrs. Jones to stay at the podium. And, you know, this is the time of year where, again, as a former board member, I always loved January. I loved all the, you know, the time being a board member, but January was fun because we got to really receive some gifts and, you know, heard the appreciation from teachers and community members. And as you all know, this is a, you know, board members don't get paid for their duties. It's a volunteer position, and the amount of time that the 7 of y'all put in, it's extensive. It's a lot of planning for board meetings. It's community events. And each one of you, I can tell you've got the passion for it. You love it. The impact that you guys have had on this district, where we are today, is a direct result of y'all's passion, your focus, and where you want this district to go. So, so again, it's Board Appreciation Month. We're so proud of this board. And Ms. Jones, I think you've got just a short video of the impact that this board has.
That's right. And, you know, if you've ever been on the receiving end of just the generosity of others, sometimes that's all you need, and it's worth the heartache, the pain, the time, the commitment that you pour into your volunteer work. And I will have to say that because of the approval of the purchase for teacher supplies that you guys granted, I believe it was in December, the gratitude from teachers for the traveling teacher supply, that made a huge difference on each of those campuses that first week back from a very nice awaited break. And so I went around and shot some video of what that was like. It's kind of a highlight video. Clay, do you mind hitting play?
I'm getting like flare kits, highlighters, sheet protectors, Astro Bright paper, and Expo markers.
This is amazing. The other district I was at, they never did anything like this. So hearing that I get to come and shop with $100 makes me happy.
Thank you. Thank you. Special thanks to the school board. We really, really appreciate making sure we have what we need for our kids.
Thank you so much.
much for everything you guys do, for all your support. So you guys are proving this. You don't know how much it means to us, to the teachers.
Thank you, school board, for being so kind to the teachers. We appreciate you so much.
I think this is phenomenal that they're doing this for us and that we can pass this along to our kids and make it an even better learning environment. Thank you.
I've never seen teachers excited about batteries. They were at the high school. It was amazing. And all the supplies were unique to each campus. And I can't tell you what a big difference that made just coming back to work, knowing the challenges that they have to face for the spring semester. So thank you for what you do in supporting our kids and our teachers.
And I want to take a minute to thank Mrs. Jones for her work on that, because she did a lot of planning. She did a lot of coordinating. And at the end of the day, it really was her idea. She said, what if we do a teacher traveling store? But none of that would have happened or been possible without the support of the board. So thank you all so much for supporting that and voting for that, because again, I went out to the campuses during those days and the teachers were, they were giddy. They were, dancing, and they were, again, they were happy to receive batteries. So very, very exciting. So one of the things that I really am proud that I get to do, and it's an honor, is to recognize individuals with what I would describe as our highest award here in Little Elm ISD for an impact or the impact that these individuals have across the district. And it's the Tripoli Award. And when we think about who to give this award to, we really want to look at those individuals that have an impact, not just at their campus or at maybe central office, but really across the district. And I have two Tripoli Awards that I'm going to present tonight to two really long-standing employees here in Little Elm ISD, employees that have done great work, again, on their campuses and their departments and across the district. And this first individual, it's a real pleasure for me because as I've gotten to know her, I've seen the passion that she has for her campus, but not just her campus, but the students on her campus, but outside the campus. And she'll know who it is in a second, because this year she stepped up tremendously when we needed more leadership, I'll say, at the Angel Tree, because Yamile, who does that every year and does an amazing job, was not able to do that. So this first Tripoli Award is going to go to Marissa Flores, and it's an honor. And Marissa, if you want to come up. One thing I'll say about Marissa is, and again, I've gotten to know her over the years here, and I've seen a passion in her for the kids, and obviously not just the kids, but the teachers. And just recently, we had a student who was struggling, and Marissa really stepped in. I think she was the first one to step in to help that student that day. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, I got to go over and talk to her and thank her for that. But that's just what she does. It's not something that anybody has to tell her to do. She just does it because she loves the kids, she loves the campus, and loves the district. And again, the Angel Tree is a great example of what she does for this district. She does it every single year. And I love that event every year. And one of the reasons is because of what Marissa does. She makes it a fun event. And you didn't make that cake this year, though, which is okay, because I didn't need it. But I'll tell you, though, she just an incredible asset to this district, and really more than deserving. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Marissa, you might be the first paraprofessional receiving this. So just an honor, and I'm proud to give this to you. So come on up. And we always give this book, The Wisdom of Wolves. It's a great book. It's leadership lessons from nature, and it just is fitting. So again, Let me put my mask on. Yes, thank you. We don't want pictures out there without. So, thank you. Appreciate you. And again, thank you, Marissa, for everything you do for the district, because anything that needs to be done, and I know Dr. Pretty, do you want to say a word real quick just about Marissa? Because I know,
Well, and I can, well, she's wonderful. And on our campus, of course, she serves a specific role, but she doesn't hold to that. She helps out whenever we need extra, hey, Marissa, she does it. So, you need people like that. You need lots of people like that on your campus, especially in a year like this year. But she's translating for us. I mean, my assistant principals, I can hear them on the radio. They'll say, hey, Marissa, and she's there. She drops and does what she needs to do. And she's located in a very unique part of the building. She helps us with call duty and monitoring, and she's in a really good spot there. And she also is in our office with our crisis counselors and our CIS counselor. And I think too that's the right place for her, because she gets to see a lot of students that get to see her smile on face, and they know that there's a safe place.
it's awesome. Thank you, Marissa. And this next individual, again, just like Marissa, more than deserving. And really, these two, I would say, are overdue. This next individual has been here, I think, Marissa, is this 16 years for you or 15? All right, so 16. And I believe this next individual has also been here for 16 years. She has become someone that all of us here, including myself, have really relied on in terms of helping this district move forward, helping us become more focused on academics. She is such a resource for me, for, again, all of us here at Zellers. Someone who's held so many different positions in the district, and I'm so proud to honor her and recognize her, Dr. Cindy Micka, for everything that she's done. And as Cindy's coming out, I'll tell you, just like as I've gotten to know Marissa, obviously I work with Cindy more than I work with Marissa. I see Marissa when I'm at the high school or just in passing. But Cindy and I have really worked very, very closely together over the last 4 years now, I guess it's for 5 years. She, again, is a wealth of knowledge. She is somebody that no matter what has come to her, whatever challenges that she has faced, she handles it so professionally. She's an amazing lady. The challenges that she's been faced with, she's just been inspiring. She's stepped it up. She is truly, I know she's technically not a Lobo for life, just like Marissa, but I think both these ladies are Lobos for life. And, both of them love this district. I know Cindy, with your family, which you have some family members here, and Marissa too. But Cindy, just again, long overdue. This is just a way for us to say how much we appreciate you here in Little Elm ISD and the difference you've made. And I can talk up here for 30 minutes about things that you've done for the district, but also me personally, to help us get to where we are today. And this year of COVID, none of us, and it's been a team effort, all of us, but none of us could have done what we've done without your leadership and support. So let me get a mask. And then Ross, I don't know if you want to say anything. Go ahead, we'll do a picture. You want to say anything about? Sure. No, appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. And Cindy, I don't know if she's sliding up here to say something also, but thanks for doing that. And yeah, I have the honor every day really to work very closely with Cindy. And over the years, we have become closer and closer, and seeing the things that she does for this organization and for our teachers and kids and community, man, is just very impressive. And so she is a cornerstone and just a ray of sunshine, and really enjoy learning from her and working alongside of her, and can't say enough about her. So I'm very proud to be up here and stand up here and say some kind words for her. So she's very deserving. So we're very proud of her.
And again, I just want to thank Cindy's family for being here. I know that was, I appreciate you. And then also Marissa's family. I know your daughter couldn't be here, but I think she's watching, because we did call her, by the way. We did. So hopefully she's watching. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us be here.
Our pleasure. Thank you all.
So, do we have any citizens? All right. Sorry. So there's no citizen input tonight. So moving on to the reports from the superintendent. We might want to have B first instead of A. So
Yeah.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move. Let's move Mr. Martin, if you're prepared. Mr. Walker, we're going to go ahead and move Mr. Martin. So that would be B. We'll move the construction update first, and then Dr. Mika, we'll have you go after Mr. Martin.
Boy, how do you follow something like that? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to be able to be up here to do this for you and give you a construction update here. As soon as I get it going. This is just a list of the major items that we've completed in the program so far. We also have some projects that are nearing completion. Both the middle schools we started a closeout process at Walker, and we're very close to doing that at Strike as well. The district-wide ESPC, all the HVAC equipment in the district has been changed except for a handful of campuses which are scheduled to be done later. This is our budget analysis. You've seen this before, how the bonds were to be sold and what projects those monies were going to be spent on. This was updated as of the first week in this year. And right now, we're still projecting to have money left over before we close out the jobs. And so far, we've been fortunate that every project that we've been able to close out or complete, we've had some money left over that goes back into the kitty to be able to continue to further advance our program. Jerry Walker, that project is we don't have our official certificate of occupancy, but it's right around the corner. We're having our storm shelter review tomorrow afternoon, where we'll train everybody on how to use the storm shelter. The city will be there, Huckabee will be there. We'll get our certifications. And that is really the last piece that we need to be able to finish. Strike. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, the city has started work on that traffic signal there at Scotty's in front of the school. It's my understanding that it'll be operating this summer, so we should have it available for use and help us with our traffic flow at that campus by this fall. Other activities, as I mentioned, the phase 2 ESPC scope. We just have a few Building envelope issues, which are shades, window shades. You have 3 campuses that are missing a handful each. As you might already know, we've had some issues getting materials from outside the state because of COVID issues, but that one is still slated to be completed here within the next 30 days. Under construction, we issued a notice to proceed today. We've received bonds and insurance. We're just now waiting on the foundation permit from the city to be able to start kicking dirt out there and get started on our indoor facility. In designs, we continue to refine each departmental space and what their needs are. We will be wrapping those up this week with each department and the design team coming back in, making sure we have the number of spaces, the adjacencies, and everything that's necessary. Our next round then will be to sit down with each one of them and start going through furniture and technology needs that they need in each space. We still have this list of issues, which also includes the Zellers conversion, converting this into our preschool program here by fall of 22. We still have some renovation work to do at the high school. And if you want, we can start future planning for the next bond. Any questions?
I do have a question in terms of strike. How much longer till a lot of this, kind of each side of the building still needs something, railing on the back, finished landscaping on the side and front, masonry work on the other side. When does all that kind of come together?
I'm hoping that by this time next month, the next board meeting, we'll have that done. We'll have that wrapped up.
And then what about the backside, the athletic fields, the tennis courts?
That's going to be March.
March.
March, April timeframe.
Okay. That's turf as well, or the turf and then the practice
The
field next to
E-layer
it?
was started. It's probably 2/3 of the way across. The track base is in. The finished color on the top hasn't been done yet. The grandstands, all that press box is up. They've just set up for the emergency road access that will allow us to occupy that space. That was formed up this week, and depending on what the weather does and temperatures do, I should be able to get that poured here in the next week or so. That will then allow us to access and use that space from the city's standpoint as occupying the space. But it's still a March, late March completion on the athletic fields.
And how about the inside of the school? Is there any big pieces left there?
Texas Scenic did their stuff on the stage. Curtains are up, lighting system's up. We've tested the sound system for the dedication. Inside, it's just, our glitch list is really about all that's left, and that's just a few things here and there. The biggest thing outside, they still have to sod the landscape area across Lebanon, across the front of the school there along Lebanon. That is a Matthew Southwest project. Landscaping is going in, sod went in around the building. There is a handful of handrails that do need to go up front and back. The courtyard on the east side is complete. The connexes that we were using that are in the east parking lot will be removed by the end of next week. So we can clean that lot and get it striped and get it ready again for the dedication ceremonies. Storm shelter, we haven't put it through its entire paces yet, but storm shelter in that city is not required in order for us to be able to occupy and use the space. However, it is required by us that it become functional. And that's the next step on the inside, but everything else is being used, occupied, got all of our bugs worked out in most all the spaces.
Very cool. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was last month. It may have been November. I apologize, but when you made the last presentation regarding the indoor facility. One of the things we'd asked you about was the potential of some of the heavy-duty drop-down curtains, basically where we could divide it in half or in fourths.
Yes.
And you said you're going to look into that and the feasibility of it?
We have looked into it. We don't have any costs yet.
Okay.
I will tell you, it'll probably be a change order. I'll have to come back to the board to approve if you so choose to do that. We are looking at, and we met with Sandra and the design team, and we're talking about a 4 curtain divider that would divide it into 4 quadrants. But yeah, we're looking into that. Right now, it's still a structural issue. The original design didn't anticipate that. So there may be some redesign work we have to do for the structure. But we hadn't forgotten about it.
No, understand. Just wanted to check up on, follow up on it. Thank you.
The only other item that I was wondering about is, and I don't know if this was part of our original designs for the high school softball, baseball, softball fields, and for the practice field, were we going to put lights up at the practice field?
Yes.
So there are.
That's in
Okay. I thought
a
I
phase
saw
coming.
Okay.
We've run conduit to those locations, so it's a matter of getting them loaded up. We just couldn't afford them in this session right now.
Okay. Do you think it's something that will be completed before next football season? You don't have to give me an answer. Just.
I'd like to give you an answer, but I'm not prepared to answer that question right now.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, thank you, Mr. Martin. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Cindy Mika to come and do a presentation or monthly curriculum and learning update.
Good evening, President Montemayor, board members, and Superintendent Gallagher. Kind of still shaking, so hopefully we can get through this. I don't cry very often, but I definitely had tears in my eyes, and thank you, Mr. Gallagher. What an honor.
That's our honor. We're blessed that you're here.
I'm here tonight to give you a curriculum and learning update for the month of January, and we have several items to update you on this evening. First, I wanted to give a second semester enrollment update. These numbers were pulled the first day of the second semester, so there might be some variance in what they are current today. But just to reflect back to the first day of school in August, we had 7,778 students. In October, on snapshot date, and I gave you that update in November, we had 8,113 students. And on the first day of the second semester, we had 8,110 students. And so on our Little Elm website, we do keep a enrollment dashboard that is updated every month. And so at the top there, the dark navy blue line, that is where we are trending this year. And so typically we do see a bit of a dip in January for right at the beginning of the semester. That's when a lot of students move in and out across districts in the state. And so we should start seeing an uptick again in February leading into March if we stay true to our typical trends. So we have our instructional modality commitment. And so for we started off the school year pretty much right at a 40-60 split for at-home and in-school learners. Then in the second quarter, we moved to a 25% at home, 75% in school. And this year in the third quarter, beginning of the second semester, we started off with 15% of our students are at-home learners and 85% are in-school learners. And here is a breakdown, and this is also on our commitment dashboard on our COVID site. And we publish this so that our parents know how many of the students are in school and at home for every campus and grade level. So 85% of students are in school, and that equates to 6,879 students. And then the 15% that are at home is 1,231 students. As you know, with House Bill 3 in the 86th legislative session, reading academies were mandated for all of our K through third grade teachers and administrators. And so we began that process in July with our first cohort. We had 163 teachers start the 11-month academy, 12 campus level administrators, and 8 district level administrators here at Zellers. And in January, our second cohort began with 20 teachers, and these are all the teachers that were hired after June and weren't able to start with that July 2020 cohort. And so they should be completed by next December. So right now, 100% of our staff in K-3 are enrolled in a reading academy. Another big thing that Amanda Ball is working on with HR is what we're calling LEO, and that is the Little Elm Onboarding and Orientation. We have been doing, as you know, New Teacher Academy, and then HR was doing an onboarding. Last year, we started working together and doing one onboarding where different members of Curriculum and Learning helped prepare the teachers. They got their computers, they logged into the first time, they learned about professional learning requirements, and then HR and business services were able to complete their onboarding administrative tasks. So now they are developing LEO, and it's going to streamline onboarding orientation for all hires. In the past, we really haven't had a orientation professional learning event for hires except for new teachers. And so we wanted to ensure that no matter where you are in the organization, that everyone learns about our organization, knows what we stand for, and understands our culture when they're hired. And so this is being developed on Canvas, which is our main learning platform. And then we use it a lot for professional learning and meetings as well. And so I know that they have been hard at work on creating this, the content for it, and it's being developed as we speak in Canvas. And we hope for that rollout to occur in March for new hires that are hired during the month of March. And so when we talk about onboarding, all new hires will, if they are issued a laptop, will receive their laptop. They'll be introduced to the Lobo Hub. They'll get their Rapid ID, Safe Schools, payroll benefits, and they'll learn about our COVID protocols. Instructional new hires will also learn about Strive, which is where we keep all of our professional learning, what the professional learning requirements are, about exchange hours for November, and T-Test, which is their evaluative system. And then you can see orientation is for all hires, and it's who we are, our mission, our vision, and our values, and our district cornerstones. And then that last column there is typically what we did during New Teacher Academy. And that is what we call our instructional staff. And so we're really excited about LEO and what it will bring not only to teachers and staff that are hired after the traditional hiring season in the summer, but all staff, including auxiliary staff, paraprofessionals, and administrative staff that will now have one seamless onboarding and orientation tool, Canvas. Now, this will not replace the learning that occurs during what we now call Lobo Welcome Week, which it used to be New Teacher Academy. That will still occur that last week of July. But this will be something that we are able to take our different teachers through in a Canvas setting. regardless of when they're hired, and other staff as well. Another update I have for you is on the AP Exam Bootcamps. We're really excited about this. This is available to students and AP teachers. It will be facilitated by AP experts across the Metroplex. And it's going to be a bootcamp style study session for the AP exams. It will be virtual and it will be held outside of the school day. And we're going to be able to pay for this with part of our HB3 money, the CCMR money that's part of the HB3 allotment. And so we're really excited to be able to offer this to our students and teachers. I always love this portion in January where Yamile, we update you on her outreach with the community. And as you know, Yamile is our family facilitator and our homeless liaison here in Little Elm ISD. And so, along with everyone else, she had to quickly pivot in order to be able to support our families during a pandemic. And a quote that she wanted me to share with you is, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And she quickly was able to do that last spring when we were first in the shutdown as a result of the onset of the pandemic. And so in the spring semester, she had 6 screencast sessions with our families. And here are the topics that we were able to cover. And then also, we were able to, as a result of doing these screencasts and by Zoom, we had an average between 23 and 32 parents active every week that our sessions were held. And a really positive note about this is usually it's only one parent who comes because the other parent is watching the students, babysitting per se. But a lot of these sessions were able to be attended by both parents because they were held by Zoom. And so it's one of those things where you start talking, and we've talked a lot about, what are we going to keep that's going to be virtual and by Zoom? And what are we going to go back to face when we're allowed to? And this might be one of those things where we do a blend, where we do a few sessions that are Zoom and a few sessions that are face-to-face, because we are able to reach more parents when we're doing these sessions by Zoom than when they are face-to-face at one of our schools and they're having to come in. We do provide babysitting, but the numbers aren't always as high as they have shown to be when we're doing them by Zoom. So that is one positive. Yamile also oversees our homeless students and families. And so in 2019, 2020, we had 91 students qualify under the McKinney-Vento Act. At the end of the year in May, 70 of those 91 students were still actively enrolled in Little Elm ISD. During the 2020-2021 school year to date, 58 students have been qualified under the McKinney-Vento Act. In the past 3 years, the past 2 years, we have had 10 seniors who have received the FAFSA verification letter for college enrollment. And so far this year, we are excited that we have 3 pending. And all of the homeless students also are provided with school supplies. They receive assistance from Love Packs, and they receive Lobo Angel Tree support. We also had Back to School Bash. It looked a little different this year, but we still were able to serve 210 families, and that equated to 488 students. Out of the 210 families, 150 actually came to our Back to School drive-through event. We distributed 333 backpacks and school supply kits. And then an additional 155 backpacks were distributed to the campuses to support additional students in need. And then one of the biggest things that we all know about that UMLA oversees is the Angel Tree. We have been doing this for 14 years, and in that time, we have served over 1,500 different families and nearly 3,000 children. In 2020 Angel Tree, just this past December, we served 85 families and 219 children between the ages of 0 and 19. We had 105 LEISD staff, student organizations, and community partners who donated gifts for the Angel Tree and adopted all of our angels. UMLA wanted to give a big thank you to Wynwood Haven Estates, Retractable Technologies, the Crossing Church, Stonebriar Church, Little Elm Firefighters Association, Stonebrook Pediatric Dentistry, Oak Grove Church, Coats for Kids, Little Elm Police Department Beyond the Badge, D3 Salon, and Love Packs for their generous donations as community members to the Angel Tree. Here are some pictures of the distribution night for Angel Tree. And I know that many of us here in this room were there on that night, and it was an amazing event. It always is to see the community pull together and us being able to support our students for Christmas. And we want to have a big thank you to Yumile Quintero, Marissa Flores, and Blanca Gonzalez for their leadership and continued support during all of Angel Tree. At the end of my monthly curriculum and learning update, I'll be updating you on any Destination 2025 goals that should be updated that month. And to remind you, Destination 2025 is our district's 5-year strategic plan. The first goal I'll be updating you on is District Focus 1 and Goal 1A1 in the curriculum department, and that is that we would be utilizing a common summative assessment dashboard. And at the campus level, we utilize School City, and at the district level, we have developed a dashboard that we house in Canvas. School City has been a great platform for us the past 3 to 4 years. It is where we are able to develop assessments and give online assessments, and it allows us to disaggregate those common summative assessments as well as state assessments. And then at the district level, we're able to take that data and then we're able to look at it over the entire year to see how grade levels and campuses are doing in the approaches, meets, and masters for our common summative assessments that the district develop. District Focus 1, Goal 3B, and Keisha Brown is here this evening, but this goal focused on developing a college career and military opportunities dashboard. And we wanted to know how many students are we engaging in different activities that enhances their post high school opportunities such as college, career, and military. And so we have, she has developed a dashboard on her website. And so we're really, she worked with Casey to get this developed so it has the look of our other dashboards. But here on the first part of it is the class of 2021 college acceptances year to date. And then you can scroll through and see, what are the different private universities that students have been accepted to in the class of 2021, what Texas public schools and how many students. So right now, University of North Texas has 18 students, followed by Texas Tech, which some of you will be happy about, with 15 students. And so you could go through and look at those. And then the historically Black colleges and universities, how many of our students are going to those, how many of our students have received out-of-state acceptances, and also to two-year schools. And so that is being updated as acceptances are being reported. And as with anything, it only is as good as the students are turning in the information to us, because that's the only way that we get it, is if they give the information to Ms. Brown.
And I'm glad you said that. I think that's important because if, board members, we could use your help if the public reaches out and says, well, why do we only have 289 students or,
We have 162 so far to date.
so whatever that is, let them know that it's an ever-changing document.
Yes. And so this is the historical data, and Keisha will be updating this as we get the final numbers for the class of 2021. But this is, once again, data that has been reported to us. And then she is also tracking scholarships awarded to date. And so you can see last year we had over $10 million of scholarship awards, and this year to date we have almost $2 million. Then she's keeping a running list of the different college readiness opportunities that she is hosting or other people in the district are hosting. And so she's keeping a running list of that. And then she's also saying how many students attended each of those events. And so I'm not going to go through all of these, but if you're interested, you can scroll through those. But we do want to thank Keisha for her work on creating this dashboard as part of the Destination 2025 goals. District Focus 2, Goal 1C, under the leadership of Cecilia Jones, was to increase thought exchange engagement at the campus level. I have to turn to my notes because I did write down specifics here that I wanted to make sure. So we wanted to, last year, Cecilia piloted this at 2 campuses, the high school and I believe Hackberry. So far this year, we have had 1 engagement at each of our campuses. An example questions that were on the campus engagements are listed here. We wanted to know different campuses. They created their own. They wanted to know what they've done well, how they can improve. Some have done thought exchange with their staff and what areas do we need to address in the workplace. So there are a lot of different reasons and questions that were asked on the different campus thought exchange. We didn't create it and have them send it out. They tailored it specific to the needs of their campus. Also, during the first semester, we had 3 engagements at the district level. The Superintendent's Employee Advisory Committee did a thought exchange, the business breakfast, and also class. We had several big thought exchanges during the summer leading up to what we knew that we would need preparing for this school year and what this school year would look like, what parents were worried about, and what they wanted to see. And then District Focus 3, Goal 2.C, led by Ashley Brown and the HR department, was to ensure that a staff survey was deployed to gather feedback on the quality of support provided by districts' departments. And so to my knowledge, working here, this is really one of the first times that we've done a survey asking about the departments here at the district level and how we are supporting them. And so why we want to know, our support of our staff and our campuses is our #1 priority here at Zellers. We are in service to our campuses. And so Ms. Brown deployed a survey this month to gauge the effectiveness of the district department's support to staff and campuses. And what will we do with that survey results? When she gets them all back, and she'll be meeting with each of the department leads to provide, so that we can be provided with the data so that we have opportunities to revise and improve our departments so that we can continue to effectively support our teachers and campuses. And I know that was a long update, but do you have any questions for me? Lots of topics were covered in that update.
It was quite robust.
Thank you.
I do want to just say a quick thank you again, Dr. Mika. Very thorough, excellent. Keisha Brown, thank you for being here. And that dashboard is awesome. I really appreciate you doing that. Again, it's another way to communicate to our community, our focus on career, college, and really life ready. So again, thank you for that. And just an opportunity to showcase what we're doing with our students in district.
Moving on, we do have our approval of minutes from our December 14th, 2020 meeting. If everyone's had a chance to review those, is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or adjustments or questions on the minutes? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented? All right, and then one abstain. All right. That motion passes. On action items, we are going to pull back item A, consideration approval of cabinet level administrative contracts. Until the very end, we're going to include another closed session. We don't foresee that taking very long. I just ask a few questions and then we'll come back and vote on that. So no one needs to stay through that second closed session. So then with that, we'll move on to consider an approval of the 2021-2022 Little Elm ISD calendar, presented by Dr. Mika.
Good evening again. As you know, we've been in development of the 2021-2022 calendar. I believe this is the third time that I'm coming to update you on this. I actually do have a calendar that we'll be taking for approval tonight. So in November, we presented the timeline to our district leadership team and gathered feedback. And as you know from that feedback, we went back and revised the calendar. Then we presented a timeline to you in November. In December, we took it to the Superintendent Employee Advisory Committee. We went in with 3 calendars and came out with 3 completely different calendars as a result of that meeting. And so it was a great meeting that we had with them and the feedback that we received from the Employee Advisory Committee. In January, we presented 2 of the calendar options to the DEIC, the District Education Improvement Committee, for feedback via virtual meeting. And then January 7th to the 14th, we took those 2 calendar options to the community for survey. We had 2,803 respondents in the calendar survey this year. And 74% of those were parents, 6% were employees and parents, 18 were employees, and we had 2% of our students complete the survey. Calendar option A received 58% of the votes, and calendar option B received 42% of the votes. And as you can see, breaking it down by the demographics that we collected, option A was supported by each of those 4 different demographics. So the survey results, the teacher back to school professional for calendar option A is the August 2nd through the 17th. The first day of school is Wednesday, the 18th. January professional learning will be the 3rd and the 4th, and the second semester will begin on January the 5th. The last day for students in the option A is May 19th, and then teachers will have a work day and end there on May 20th. And then the bad weather makeup days would be slated for February 21st and April 18th. And so it is our recommendation that calendar option A is the 21-22 LEISD academic calendar.
Is there a motion to approve calendar option A as presented? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Okay. I did have one question that I know that this is an idea that kind of been tossed around and I think had been mentioned in passing. I wasn't sure really how much we'd looked into it. But with the oncoming of COVID and all the distance learning that everyone has had to adapt to, we've asked the question, I believe, and I know that there are other school districts that are also looking at the question of why the need for bad weather days anymore? Couldn't we just, in theory, turn the entire school day over to an at-home or distance learning for the day?
One really easy answer is it's statutorily required of us to have 2 bad weather days for public schools in Texas. And then the other is
We don't know
we don't know what
we don't know if we can do it
what
until we have to do it.
that we don't
basically.
know. Yes. And so we don't know what next year is going to bring. And
Correct.
so we don't know if we're going to still be in the middle of a pandemic and have virtual learning. Because right now, as you know, only 5 districts in Texas are allowed to legally conduct virtual learning.
Yes.
And so we're just under waivers this year to have it. And so we have prepared for those 2 bad weather days, plus we have about 2.5 extra days in reserve of minutes, because even if we have a late arrival, because we're now on 75,600 minutes, we put in a little bit of cushion as well in case we have a late arrival anytime.
The statutory thing pretty much answers it, but also the other kind of issue that I think Mr. Gallagher was somewhat alluding to, and I think you didn't really want to say, is we don't know if we can pull it off until we have to try and pull it off.
Well, and we
So-
won't know until the legislation,
Yes.
has the gavel down on May 31st, what's being changed legislatively.
Okay, it's just a question.
Thank you.
I had a question. For the professional development days, I know a couple other districts are doing this as well. Changing one of the professional development days into a mental health day for the teachers. Giving them opportunity just to kind of recharge for mental health. I know a couple of districts are doing mental health days versus professional development days. So want to throw that out there as a thought.
So if it's a mental health day, then it doesn't count towards our 75,600 minutes. And so if it's a waiver day, which we have done, the students are off, but the teachers are still here, and we are able to count those 75,600 minutes. And that's what you're seeing in purple. They'll stay in purple until we're able to apply for that waiver. But as far as a mental health day is actually a holiday. And so we would have to actually put in extra holidays and go with either an earlier start date or a later end date.
Yeah. So Nate, it's a thought. I'll throw it out there.
Thank
For
you.
the teachers.
Dr. Mika, just curious, the second week of March, is that kind of line up with the rest of the districts around here with spring break?
We're watching them come in. Not very many districts have approved. Louisville came in last Monday with the week of March 14th. Lake Dallas approved last Monday, the week of March 14th. Frisco approved either on Monday or Tuesday of last week, the week of March 7th. And so we are watching that week. I think I said last month that March spring break is kind of we typically have a pulse on what everyone's doing by this time, including our universities, but our universities still haven't even voted on an academic calendar yet for next school year. And so we do typically try to align with NCTC. We didn't want to make changes right now. We're hoping that, if we need to make a change or we feel like we need to make a change, that's something we can do once we see what the universities come in. But right now, Frisco ISD is the school district that has the same week of March 7th as ours is currently on here.
All right, all those in favor of approving the calendar? All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. Then we have the consideration of approval of financial reports through November 2020. Mr. Anderson?
Good evening, Board of Trustees. We do have the November 2020 financials in your board packets, and the budget amendments go through January 2021. The financials include the general fund, the capital projects fund, and the debt service fund, and then the special revenue funds. The general fund, we had no major budget amendments. Capital projects fund, we had Little Elm High School carpet of $31,000 and Zeller's soffit repairs of $13,000, which Rod will present later on the board meeting. And then we have the $25 million bond proceeds. And then the $18.4 million budget amendment for remainder of the indoor multi-use facility budget of $19.5 million, which is approved in December 2020 at the last board meeting. The debt service fund, on December 2nd, the district sold the $25 million of its remaining voted authorization through the offering of its fixed and variable tax rate. The initial rate was 1.25%, and this came in at 0.68%. So it's a minimum of $511,000 in lower interest costs. And then also on December 17th, the district refunded $20,845,000 of existing debt through the offering of its unlimited tax refunding bonds, and it had estimated a gross debt service savings of $3,712,922. Increased annual operating costs are some financial future considerations, long-term building program that we bring forward to you each month to keep these in mind as you're approving budget amendments. The Texas 86th legislative session, proposed school finance bill. We're always the risk of financial sustainability at the state level, ongoing preventive and deferred maintenance costs of buildings, and we're anticipating transfer of fund balance in 2020-21 to capital outlay fund for corrective construction measures at Prestwick Elementary. And the capital reimbursement resolutions, in the 2017 bond are up to $10 million. And the four major economic factors which have a direct impact on school funding is the slowdown or decline of property values, a recession causing an increase in uncollected property tax, a downturn in forecasted student enrollment. And then LASD has experienced, as you know, at the beginning of the year, slowdown in enrollment. Because of COVID, and finance will continue to monitor and adjust revenue in our February or March board meeting, if needed. And January 15, 2021, our total enrollment was 8,094 students, and our initial budget was built on 8,218 students. The state's inability to fund education is passed under HB 3, again, causes adjustments to funding levels. And the 87th legislative regular session has began January 12th, as you know, and will end on May 31st. Our general fund financials we bring to each board meeting. Has not a lot of amendments, and our estimated revenues, no changes. Our appropriations still at 80% at the campus level. And our initial appropriation was $80.1 million. And you can see the changes from prior year amendments, and the proposed amendments are netting to zero. So there's no change in our budgeted deficit at this point in time of $690,000. And our fund balance, you can see that there's no change in our fund balance from prior year, again at $690,000 budgeted fund balance deficit. And our actions, of course, we'll know towards the end of the year. Capital outlay projects or capital outlay fund of the December 2020 bond sale of $25 million. So we have a total of $220 million that have been issued out of the $235 million. We have $15 million remaining. And the approved budgets and the projects that have been approved is $205.4 million with $35.2 million remaining. And you can see that all the projects, Rick did an update and showed you a few of the projects on the screen. And you can also go to the financial transparency website to see all the projects that the board has approved, the budgets for each projects and the remaining balances. Our debt service fund, year-to-date realized revenue is $18 million. And then we have just $19,000 in our budget actual expenditures. We're estimating a budgetary fund balance of about $7 million. I'm sorry. And the financials in the board packets, and the administration recommends approval of certain November 2020 financial reports estimated.
Is there a motion to approve the financial reports as submitted? No?
Second.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments?
Just one quick question. The $20,000 for mask, is any of that funded by the state or federal government, or do we get any help with that?
Yeah, there's been through ESSER, there's been some reimbursements to us, and I don't know specifically for this one purchase if it is, or if it just, I think it's just straight out of the general fund. So this one's straight out of the general fund. Jesse, can you come speak to the future reimbursements of ESSER funds and where we are in the application process?
So there was the ESSER money that we all received, all our districts received, that was the swap of state funding for federal funding. It's where they pulled back funding for attendance and swapped it with state. There was a clause in the language of that act that actually let the states supplant. We always say supplement, not supplant. It actually gave the states the right to supplant the funding. So in terms of that kind of, while we received lots of money for that, it wasn't extra. We stayed pretty flat on that. As far as some of the PPE and expenses that we've had like that, we do have stuff in process for the original CRF bill. There was a chunk that we could do from May 13th through, or March 13th through May 20th. That was when everything first shut down and we were all kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what we were doing, how we were going to do it, with what resources, what protocols were, things like that. And so funding for that was for a very specific time period. And we have, we're working with TDEM now to seek some reimbursement for some of those funds. There have been other minor funding sources that we've got. We've worked with something SPED received as well. As far as more like new opportunities for funding for some of these PPE, and so the kind of the rule of thumb now is, from that standpoint, like PPE, your extra cleaning, the disinfecting, all that kind of stuff. The stance is kind of now, well, that should just kind of be BAU for you guys, just business as usual. Or they're like, you should be doing that already. That's not something extra and above you're having to do. It's, you live in a pandemic, you should disinfect. You live in a pandemic, you should wear a mask. It's kind of the general sense. There have been some things for technology, making sure everyone can do the distance learning. So we have a request in for that, for reimbursement for some technology that we purchased this year, some Chromebooks and things. But as far as the general abatement of the virus, the stance has been kind of lately that you should be doing that anyway, right? So it's not like an extra disaster recovery kind of thing. That's just the new normal. So there's not a lot of opportunity there.
So that's 15,000. You don't see an opportunities for reimbursement from the state or the federal?
Not for
Okay.
Mr. Gallagher, is that something maybe we can reach out to Jared Patterson to see if they could, I mean, I understand business as usual, right? But I mean, we hired extra cleaning crews and we're paying extra. I mean, we really are spending more than we normally would. So I don't know if that's something that we could go to Jared.
I will say, sorry, I will say the dust has yet to settle on the stimulus bill that was passed in December, right at the end of December. Early signs say it might behave more like the ESSER money that was kind of the swap, the ADA funding swap. But they're still figuring out some of the nuances of that and how that, because there's a large sum of money that was set aside for local education agencies. So there may be an opportunity down the road, but FEMA has kind of ruled on those health related stuff. Unless you're actually like kind of like a hospital combating the thing, you're not really going to qualify on that. But to your point, yes, it's BAU, but the new BAU is expensive.
Thank you.
I still had a question also. Just looking at some of the expenses on some of the capital projects, we spent just maybe some explanation, $117,000 on calculators.
117, yeah, I believe that went to the high school, the calculators.
Yeah. Is that a list of calculators? What kind of?
Do you know about the calculators that are purchased for the high school? Okay, I can get back.
Yeah,
to you on that.
yeah. I just wanted to kind of understand what that was.
Any other questions? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the financial reports as presented? All right, thank you very much. Motion passes. Mr. Anderson, you also have consideration or approval of Little Elm ISD interlocal summary report.
Yeah, we have one interlocal on the summary report, and that's with Dr. Mika and with Region 11 Education Service Center. And it's a memorandum of understanding for Reading Academy's TA grant project blended cohort. And this is for renewal amount of $6,000, and it's a change of $6,000 from prior year.
Is there a motion to approve this interlocal report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on this one? Okay. All those in favor of approving this interlocal report? Thank you. Motion passes. And Mr. Anderson, you also have the consider approval of Little Elm ISD expenditures over $50,000 summary report.
And there's 3 over $50,000 expenditures. One's for Forecast 5 analytics, and this is the purchase of 5 lab software license and implementation, and it will pay $28,000 now for this. And the second installment of $31,000 will be due September 1, with the purchase amount of $59,000, and this is new with Dr. Mika. And then Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt, Curriculum and Learning, new purchase of $65,000, a purchase of writable to supplement the ELAR for grades 6 through 8 adoption. And this will be implemented in 2021 and go through July 2027. And we purchase using the instructional materials allotment funds, and then Scholastic with curriculum instruction of $56,696, the purchase of classroom libraries for Hackberry Elementary School. The administration recommends approval of the Little Elm Independent School District's expenditures over $50,000 summary report as submitted.
Is there a motion to approve the summary report as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Toppin. Any questions on this report?
Yeah, I do. Grant, on number 2, on the Houghton, Muffin, Harcourt, is that going to be an annual fee? Because we say now through 2027, or is that cover us through 2027? Okay, just wanted to make sure. That's the only question I had.
Any other questions? That's all those in favor of approving the expenditures of our $50,000 summary report. All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. Now we also have a consider approval of 2020-2021 capital outlay projects. Mr. Reeves?
Thank you, President Montemayor and board members and Superintendent Gallagher. Here to ask the administration to seek an approval or consideration approval for 3 capital outlay projects. Grant's discussed some of those already. The first is some soffit repairs. When I say soffits, that's a ceiling outside. When you go outside the porch areas, soffit, that just means ceiling for those that may not know that. So it's just to kind of shore those up a little bit. They're safe now, but we just want to kind of do some repairs on those. There's also some carpet. I think Dr. Pretty has requested some carpet replacement over at the high school. These can't wait for the next bond package. We're looking at doing all flooring replacement probably at the high school in the next bond package. But we really needed to address these today, or seeking your approval today. And also we talked about 75,000 additional student disposable masks. And we used about 75,000 this past semester. So that's why we're requesting another 75,000, and these were, placed on our buses and at our schools for those students. So the administration is seeking approval for this, the total amount for these 3 together, and you'll see in your backup the budgets that we've created that includes contingencies for all the projects and also some bonds and insurance that's required as well. So all that's included. And so the total price for these 3 capital outlay projects is $65,339. And so the administration is seeking the approval for these projects as presented and authorize the superintendent or their designee to execute final contracts. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yes. Nothing changed, so as submitted. So thank you.
So is there a motion to approve these projects as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there questions?
More masks. These are not the same masks that we just approved?
It is the same. They're just showing in 2 locations. So these capital outlay projects, we just want to bring these to the board as an action item, just to make sure we're transparent, not only with you, but with the public. And so Mr. Anderson shows it on his side of the ledger as well. So Beth and his team has to do a budget amendment. And so that was what he's showing. And then on my side, we're just tracking it to be transparent with y'all. Sure. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
So.
The financials show the impact of these items that come under that board. So what you're approving in the budget is behind that you see in the impact list. But these projects are actually, this capital items are being approved. So you need to go forward here.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Additional questions?
Yeah, I just have one, maybe just semantics, but in the future, could we have the detail before we approve the budget? Get this portion of it first, where we get the details of it, so we vote on approving it, and then we vote on approving the financials after the fact, after we actually approve the line item? Because we approved the budget before we approved the line item. So in the future, could we just reverse the 2? It's just semantics.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, all those in favor of approving these 3 projects as submitted? All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, does anybody have any consent agenda items that they'd like pulled out? All right, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda? All right. Now, at this moment, we will break back into closed reset. We will recess into a closed meeting in PL1 as permitted by the Texas Open Meetings Act, subchapter 551.072 and 551.074. The board and superintendent will have further discussions on land and or personnel items. And it is 8:34 p.m. general session or to open session at 9:21 PM. And we'll, for an action item of consider approval of cabinet level administrative contracts. Ms. Brown?
All right, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Gallagher. I come to you today to seeking approval for cabinet level administrative contracts. Those were submitted to you under separate cover. So the administration recommends approval of cabinet level administrative contracts as submitted.
Is there a motion to approve these positions as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
You get,
Melissa.
Okay.
Or-
Right.
Oh,
Dr.
Dr. Thompson, sorry. Going from the wrong direction.
All right. Any additional comments or questions? All right. All those in favor of approving these levels, these positions as presented? As submitted? All right, motion passes. All right, thank you very much. That's all action items. I guess my comments, this January meeting is always overwhelming, seeing, I think the amount of gifts has gotten larger and larger a year. I actually thought about this several months ago, knowing that it was coming on the year we've been through, we need this level of recognition for our teachers and our administrators and superintendent. I mean, it's having a few extra meetings, every week, a few extra meetings a month, yes, the extra involvement that we've had is additional strain on our everyday lives, but not nearly to the extent that it is for everybody, from Daniel's level down. The stuff I've seen this last 9 months has just been incredible. And it just dwarfs into what we do here. Again, we're here to just try and stay out of your way as much as possible and provide support when we can. And I hope that we're able to do that. I hope that we're able to continue doing that. And just keeping in mind that really what you guys do for our kids every day is what really matters in the district. And I'm just humbled to be recognized and thanked this way, knowing how much you guys have worked every day and especially more this last year. So I just thank you for that, and just hope that I continue living up to your expectations going forward. So that's all I have.
Thank you, President. Mr. Gallagher, thank you so much on behalf of my wife for those wonderful comments. Confucius once said, if you find a job that you love, you will never work a day in your life. And that's truly what she embodies, right? She loves her job. She loves the people that she works with. And I think you've noticed that. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her and all her support and the wonderful things she does. She's always looking to see how she can serve the people of our community. And we're looking at some other ideas that we can get more involved. So thank you again for that recognition, Mr. Gallagher. Also, thank you to the entire group here. I continue to receive kudos from members of the community on how well we've handled COVID and the way we've just handled the whole situation, right? We're not perfect at what we've done, but we get compliments on everything that we've done here in this district. So again, thank you for that. And then lastly, again, just to kind of echo Mr. Montemayor's sentiments about all the gifts. It is a little bit overwhelming, to be quite honest with you. It's almost better than Christmas in my house. And unfortunately, my daughter's 1,300 miles away, so she's not going to help me open the gifts tonight. But it was one of the most exciting days of the year as we get home and she sees what she can claim for herself. So she's already texted me to find out what I've gotten. So I look forward to FaceTiming with her tonight. Thank you all.
Dr. Thompson?
Well, so I am the new kid on the block here and did not have any idea that we had Christmas in January. So I was really surprised to see all this. And most people know that Leanna and I actually know each other and are not by any way strangers. So I may have to go through this and pick out some things I really, really want and split it with her, because this is the board appreciation, my second meeting here. So I really appreciate the board appreciation. But I do want to acknowledge my predecessor and obviously some of the hard work that went into getting things to where they are now. I cannot take credit for, but I will go through this first.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you all.
Same here. Really, really appreciate all the hard work. And I know the year has been very tough. I know teachers and educators and everyone here, not only through Little Elm, throughout the country, have been working extremely hard and under difficult conditions to really help our kids move forward. And we continue to thank you for all the love and support you provided for us. So thank you for this. Really appreciate you.
To echo what everyone else said, thank you very much for all the gifts and everything. I feel a hard time because I enjoy doing this more than what most people probably realize. I look forward to the meetings. I look forward to doing everything that I can for the district. So I just wish, as President Montemayor said, that there was some way that we could do something like this for the majority of our staff and everything that you folks have gone through this year. DeLeon and myself are both in a little bit of a unique situation, both having been in leadership TASB. We get communications from people across the state. I can say undoubtedly, as I've said numerous times before, there are many other districts. Some people would be shocked at some of the districts that look at us as an example leading the way that we have done on COVID. There are some of the biggest, most sought out or districts that a lot of people look up to in the state that think cannot do anything infallible, and they're coming to us for updates and to see how we're doing things. That to me speaks volumes. What we've done. I would like to give a very special thank you to Dr. Mika in addition to the Tripoli Award. I think everything you did this past 8, 9, 10 months, especially essentially giving up your spring break last year, and then probably almost every single weekend through the entire summer, trying to put together curriculum and the planning and everything. I know there were a lot of other people involved, but just because you got the recognition tonight, I do definitely want to point you out tonight and say thank you for everything you and your department has done.
First and foremost, like everyone else did on everything, thank you for the gifts. It is overwhelming. It's Christmas in January. It's always a fun meeting. You always look forward to it. But on top of that, I think to echo some of the points, I'm going to challenge CJ and the rest of staff here again. Came up with such a great idea for the teachers, this last event we did. So I'm going to challenge you to come up with another one. Come up with something else. Come on, help. And I'm going to challenge the board members. Let's us as a board think about ways that for our, paraprofessionals, maybe our janitors, maybe there's something we can do out there that's kind of like what we did for the teachers to show that appreciation, that we can find some way. Grant's probably killing us over there within the budget, some way to show that appreciation on a more regular basis. So kudos, great job in that. It is, awesome to see the feedback from the teachers that they appreciate it. Because I know from our perspective, be sporting some new gear here pretty soon, new coffee mug. I'm good to go. So thank y'all for everything. Appreciate it.
Yep, board members, thank you all. I want to thank everyone for staying late tonight, but on what all of y'all said, everything that I echo it, but on what Jason just said, number one, challenge accepted, but number two, this year of all years, it really is about the relationships that we have here in Little Elm ISD. It's about supporting our staff, supporting and obviously keeping our staff and students safe and healthy. But it's about taking care of one another. And there's no question this has been the most challenging year for all of us, from obviously, my position to our custodians. I mean, every single one of us in this district, we operate as a family, we support each other as a family and try to help each other grow. But it has been, a challenge, but because everyone comes together, and again, I just have the honor to be able to give, some awards to people or gold, excellence coins. It's an opportunity for us to recognize people, but when you have people like Marissa Flores or Cindy Mecca or any of our family members, it really makes this district what it is. And, we talk about being a family, but we really do operate as a family, and it's it's a work family, and we're all about the kids, but we're also about the teachers and the staff members. So, but again, it starts at this level with my position, but also with this board and your support for our teachers and staff. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I think that's why people want to come to Little Home ISD. So, board, thank you so much for what you guys do, and again, everyone, thank you all for staying late. That's all I have.